Hi, I want to show you, I know you're not happy with what you did on this file and you made a few mistakes, okay? And I'm going to try to walk you through, but show you actually how, I don't want to say the word easy, but simplified this could be. So I copied your face, which is a little distorted to begin with, to another file. Now what I want to show you is that I'm going to duplicate it, just so I don't lose the main one. Now, this little bottom icon here means that it's a smart object and it has to be converted to a regular image. How do you do that? When you see that, you right-hand click in the blank area and you rasterize it. Now it's gone, okay? So I'm going to actually throw away the other one I just made and reduplicate it. Okay, turn it off. Now, I am going to Command T to transform this and actually hold the Shift key and make her back to a pretty, I don't want to say the word normal, but I'm going to make her back to a normal proportion, which is probably right there. That's pretty close. Now let me move this down and we have the image. Now in a second, I'm going to take the pen tool, but I want you to understand something about the pen tool. Every single one of your cutout layers was a vector mask, okay? And what I need to do is to convert those. I need to make sure when I draw, I don't have a layer selected. And that's the key. When you drew, you were actually drawing a vector mask, and I'll show you what I'm doing, what you did actually. Watch if I take her, if I duplicate this and I start drawing on just for her nose. So if I start drawing on this, let me finish this and see what is going to happen here. Now that should have turned out to be a vector mask over here. All right. Let me make sure. Now I'm not sure that you didn't click because you were on path, but look at how I can go to shape or path. It has to be on path. And now if you click the word mask, that would be a mistake. Okay. So you see how if you click the word mask, you see over here in the layer palette, that might be what you did, how it's a vector mask, and this is why your file was so big in memory, because each time you did it, you had an image, which is a full amount of memory with just the nose showing, right? Or the ear or the eye or the eyebrow or whatever. So I'm going to Command Z back on that, and I'm going to Command Z back again on that. And, oh no, that's my duplicated one. So let me throw this away. So now what I want to do is to do this the right way, which is to not have a layer selected and to finish off this shape. So let me go into the nose and redo it. And you see how I gave the nose a little bit of a bigger area than you did? Now I don't even need a path to do that. I could have done it with a lasso, which would have been a lot quicker. So I'm actually going to throw this away, and this is what I want you to do. I want you to use this copy right here to make a selection with a lasso. The regular lasso tool, the one on top. So I right-hand click and choose the one on top. Now watch how I use the lasso to give about ½ an inch around her nose and give it extra surface, big surface. Okay. Now, if I click on this copy of her face, I can hit Command or Control J. Now I just have the nose. So I'm going to name it. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'll do it to the mouth, and then I'm going to do the same thing to each shape, and then I'll come back and show you what I'm going to do with those. Okay? So look at how I'm coming around her mouth. Now if I want to fix this selection right here and add to it, because I kind of made it a little wonky, I can hold the Shift key and make a larger selection like this and add both of those together. Now you see how that kind of fixed it? So what do I need to do? Well, I can't be selected on the nose layer. I want to make a copy of the mouth. So I have to click to her regular layer and hit Command or Control J, and now I can actually name this mouth. Now I'll do another one on camera for you, and then I'll come back. So let's do her right eye. So let's click to the regular layer. Let's give it about 1/2 inch around, not including her eyebrow, and come right around this and just hit Command or Control J. Now let's name that right eye. Now, what do I have to do to go do the eyebrow? I need to click to this layer, make a lasso, a regular lasso around real big, around that eyebrow, and now just hit Command or Control J and name it eyebrow. Now this is as easy as it could get. And I should have said right eyebrow. Okay, whoops. Let me name it eyebrow. Now, I'll save this file. It's going to save into the folder that I had it in. And now when I come back, I'm going to have all of her little cutout parts, okay? Okay, what I've done is I've drawn a path around her whole body. I couldn't use channels because the color of her hair and the color of the background were too close, so I just drew a path. It'll be fine. You can see it over here. When I drew this path, I made sure I didn't click mask up here. Don't click mask, okay? Because I want to control it. Now, I'm going to turn off her, and I'm going to call this main face. Because I want you to watch what I'm going to do to that, okay? I'm going to turn that into a blank face. Now, this should be pretty easy. Watch when I turn this off. I made different layers of all her shapes. Nose, mouth, right eye. I just used the lasso and I just gave everything a bunch of like 1/2 inch around. I even separated her earrings here from her ears. Okay? Now, I'm going to turn all of those off for now. So look at how I'm just dragging up to turn them all off. Now I'm going down to her face right here. Now I'm going to use this path to make to get rid of the background. So I want you to see what I'm going to do. I'm going to Command or Control this selection. I just drew it around there kind of rough. Now let me I need to get back my selections up here. So hold on a second. Okay, so if I make a selection, I have to get my menu back up, which all I had to do was hit the F key a couple times. So I'm going to Command or Control click on this. Now I want to add a feather to this, so I soften the edge. So I'm going to go to Select, Select, Modify, Feather. And I'm going to go about 3 or 4 pixels around her edge, all right, like this. So now I've added 3 or 4 pixels to that feather. So watch, I'm going to click down to the main face and hit Command J or Control J. Now I can turn this off. Now I have her cut out, okay, and she has a relative soft edge, which if I add a layer mask to, I can use black on the layer mask and use my paintbrush. Look at how I can toggle it down. My flow is at 15, and I'll click away from that. And now if I right-hand click, my hardness is not all the way soft and not all the way hard. It's about 30%, okay? Now I'm going to soften the edge of her hair very gently by painting on the layer mask with black, because black eliminates. Black takes an image away. Now if I go too far like this, I can just hit the X key and put it back. So you can see there's no damage that can be done. So I'm going to hit the X key again and continue on. Now I'm going to soften that hair as it goes into the background. Okay, so it looks more natural. But I don't have a background there yet, so I'm not going to worry about it. All right, let me go to the other side and just soften this. And I wanted to do this on screen, mostly on screen for you, other than just using my pause command when I have to do it to multiple layers. Okay, and then you'll get good at the paintbrush if you just practice. Now let's go back to all of those harsh cutout shapes in a minute. But what I want to do to this right here is to duplicate it. Okay, so I don't damage my original. So I'm going to turn this off. Now, that's my main face down there, but this is now going to be my blank face. Now I'm going to use this one right here, which is the only one on, to take away her features, because I want to distort them using these ones up here. So if I select this and hit the lasso, let's just do it one at a time. I can grab an area around her eyebrow. Look at how cool this is. Just like that. Go to Edit, Fill with Content Aware, and just go like this. Now it's pretty much gone. It's fine. All right. Now let's go around this whole shape right here and do the same thing. Edit, Fill with Content Aware, and now that should be pretty much gone. Now, let me deselect and go around this big shape. Now, if it gets wonky, if it doesn't look pretty, we'll use the paintbrush to make what didn't look pretty, or blend it in better. So go to Edit, Fill. Let's just now go to Content Aware. Gone. Now, let's do the same thing to her nose. Let's deselect, go around her nose, give it enough of an area around her nose that it knows what to do. Edit, Fill with Content Aware. And now her nose will be gone. Now let's go around her mouth. I'm going to make her ears bigger, so we don't care about these ears, okay? But I do want the earrings gone. So let's go to Edit, Fill with Content Aware. Now I've shown you that about 4 times, so now look at how we have a blank face. And the face will be fine because I have all of the other shapes. Here's the nose, the mouth, the right eye, the left eye, and you can see that in a minute I can actually soften edges. So let's just do that, but do it one at a time. Now, I'm going to make a copy of her regular face and put it up on the top, so I can always click it on and off. And I'll even call it clicky. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate it, move it all the way up to the top, so I can see what her regular features look like. Now I'm going to name this Clicky and save the file. Now I can turn this off and on when I need to. Okay, only when I need to. Now let's go close. Let's make sure we're selected on blank face, because I want to take away her earrings. So let's just come around like this with a lasso. Make sure I don't touch that cheek. And now go to Edit, Fill with Content Aware, and it'll fill fine. It'll just be fine. Now let's go here. Let's just grab this. Let's come around. Now I don't like the lasso I just made, so I can either choose to deselect and do it again, or add the Shift key, watch this, and add to the lasso. See how I just added to it? Or hold Alt or Option, watch this, and take away from the lasso. See how I did that? Now let's go to Edit, Fill, Content Aware, hit the return key, and that one will be gone. Now we are ready to do what we need to do to this face, and it'll be easy. So I'm going to take her eyes, and the reason I put this on top is I want to stare at her and see. Let's make her eyes bigger. Okay, so let's make her eyes and her eyebrows bigger. So I'm going to show a couple of things. Let's click the left eye. All right, now I'm going to make it slightly bigger. So if I click that layer and hit Command T, I now can, and I want to show you a trick. If I just grab this corner, do you see how it makes the eye bigger but doesn't keep it in the same place? So I'm going to Command Z back. What I mean by that is if I hold Alt or Option, just hold Alt or Option, look at how it makes it bigger from the center out. That's cool. Now let's go to the right eye. Turn it on, hit Command T, hold what? Hold Alt or Option and make it bigger. Now I'll move it slightly away. Okay, Now I'd like to distort that. I need to make it slightly bigger. So let's go like this. Now I'd like to take both of these into liquefy and pop her eyeball a little bit more. So this is what I mean. Watch how in right eye, I'm going to save the file first. In the right eye, I can actually go to filter and liquefy. Now I'm going to use a bloat brush. You see that one? It's 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 down. I'm going to zoom in and look at how I can use the bloat brush. I'm using the space bar to move this around. I'm going to make the brush about, see how big it is? A little bit bigger than her pupil, and I'm going to bloat that eye up a little bit like this. Okay, now I'll make it even bigger and I'll bloat the whole thing up. So I clicked 3 times on that one. I'll click OK. Now let's go to her left eye, enter, liquefy, zoom in, let me make the brush smaller again and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then the brush bigger and go 1, 2, 3. And now I have that bigger. Okay, now watch how we can blend in. This is the important part. Let me save the file. I want to add a layer mask to each one of these shapes. Now so far I only have the right eye and the left eye, but watch what I do. I'm going to click a blank layer mask, hold Alt or Option and put a layer mask on each one of these because I want to do stuff with it. I want to soften edges, and that's what you need to learn how to do. So we're going to go into the right eye right here, or I'll even start with the left eye since I'm right there. Now I don't want to paint on the image. I want to paint black on the mask, right? So I take the B key. Look, I'm at a 15 flow. I could put it up to 20. No higher. Right hand click and I'm almost all the way about in the 30% of hardness. Now look, I'm going to soften that edge. Now, do you see how I took away all the harsh cutout look? Let's come right around here and just paint that out. All the way around. All the way around. Let go of your paintbrush, Mr. Soriel, every once in a while. And I don't want to use the word erase because I'm not erasing. I'm using a layer mask to paint it. Now, if I went too far like this, what do? I just hit the X key and I can put that back in because I'm painting where white. I'm painting white on the layer mask, which restores the image. Now let's go to this horrible left eye or the right eye. Now, what do I click on? I click on the mask. Don't paint on the image, paint on the mask. Now, I have to hit the X key to paint black on the layer mask because black removes the image. Now, look at how a second ago that looked horrible. Now, look at how it blends into the face. And you have perfectness. Beautiful. Now, we can make her eyebrows be really long and thin. So let's start with this eyebrow. Okay, let's make it a little bit wider. So if I click onto the image, not the mask, the image, and hit Command T, do you see how I can hold the Shift key and make this eyebrow longer and higher? Now I'll hit the Return key. Now how do I make that work? I click to the layer mask, hit the B key, and paint out what you don't want, what looks horrible, which is this hard cutout edge. Now, could you imagine if I didn't give it the ½ an inch around? Then I wouldn't have the area to blend out. I would be erasing the actual eyebrow. Now let's go over to the other eyebrow. Let's click it. Let's turn it on. Let's click to the image and hit Command T. Now, I hold the Shift key because I want to make it longer, move it up a little bit like this, and higher. Now let's hit the Return key. You see this horrible edge? How do you get rid of it? You click where? To the layer mask. You hit the what for the brush? The B key, and you paint in what color? Yes, black. Now, you paint black on the layer mask and you fix the horrible edge that shows up badly. And this is such a valuable thing to learn. Now, Look at how we blended that beautifully. Now let's make her nose. Let me look at the regular image. Let's make her nose really tiny. Okay, so I'm going to click on her nose. It's too big. Let's make it really tiny. Now, wouldn't it be awful if when I clicked away, if there was a nose behind this? So you saw how I use Content Aware to take it off of the blank face. Let's click it back on. Let's click to the image and hit what? Command T. Now I want to shrink it so it maintains its position. So I hold the Option or Alt key and it now shrinks from the center, and I'll move it down a little bit like this. Now I hit the Return key. Now I want to soften this horrible edge. So what do I click to? The mask. I hit the B key and I paint what on the mask to take away this horrible edge? Black. And what is the black? It's at 20% flow, right? And it's a right-hand click to about 30 on the hardness. Okay, now let's keep on going. Look at how, if I didn't give it that ½ an inch around, I would be erasing, whoops, because I'm touching her nostril and I don't want to touch her nostril. So I want to just have that area out in the edge to soften that and blend it in beautifully. Now look what I just did. Now that looks like that's actually on her face. Now I'll make it slightly taller. How do I make it taller? I can't click on the mask. I have to click to the image. Hit Command T. Now I only want to distort this, so I hold the Shift key and make it go higher. Now that's cool. So here's what she looked like. Here's what I've done to her, the poor thing. Now let's click to her mouth. And then I'm going to let you do the rest. But look, her mouth is like this. I think her mouth should be wider. I'm not sure. I think her mouth should just be big. That poor woman. Okay, so let's find her mouth right there. Click on the image, hit Command T, and I'm going to make it wider. So I'm going to hold the Shift key on one side and the Shift key on the other side. And now I'll hold the Shift key here and I'll just make it a little bit like this. Move it down on her chin. Now look at the horrible edges. How do I get rid of those? You click to the layer mask. You use the paintbrush. I'll zoom in and I'll paint out that horrible edge. And again, I know I've said it like 10 times now, but that's okay. If I hadn't given it that extra ½ inch, I'd be erasing her lip, not the skin around her lip. And I hope that made sense to you. Now look what we've done. Okay, now what I would like to do is to elongate her ears. I know I said I would be done at this point, but let's go to her left ear and then I'll stop. Okay, now I haven't taken away her ears from the picture because my intention was to make them bigger. So let's click to the left ear. Let me turn it on and off. Okay, now let's hit Command T and I'm going to make it bigger. So I'm going to hold the Option key and make that ear bigger like this. Move it manually out like that. Okay, now hold the Shift key and make it longer. Hold the Shift key and make it a little wider. Okay, boy, I'm not very kind to her. Now look at how horrible that looks with the cutout parts. Watch how quickly it'll look pretty. That's a weird word with what I'm doing to her. But look, I'm going to click to the left ear, hit the B key, and let's soften the parts that don't make sense. So that needs to soften here. Now I can soften this out here. Let's just take that rest of that hair and just blend it into the other hair. And if I make a boo-boo like this, who cares? I can hit the X key and put it back. So I hit the X key and paint this back in, and look at how pretty. Now let's do the earring and make it huge. Okay, so let me save the file. Let's go to her earring, which is the left earring. Click on it, click on the image, hit Command T. Now I only want to move this down like this. Look at how I can replace that right there. Hold the Shift key and move it all the way down like this. And now I can click the Return key press it. Now look at how horrible that cutout looks. But thank goodness, again, I gave it the 1/2 inch around, because I can click to the mask, hit the B key, and soften this. Oh, now why isn't that working? Well, Brian, because you have white in the layer mask, because you used that to fix her ear. So you hit the X key and you're painting in black, and look at how nice you can soften the edge of the earring to, and I'm going to use the word melt, to blend into the face. Into the hair. And there is a decent picture. Now look at, I forgot this part right here. How do I find where that is? You hit the V key, you right hand click, and it'll take you right to the left ear. V key is for the move tool. Now you click to the mask because you want to paint black here and remove that harshness. And now there is her picture. There's her so far. Okay? And now you can see that's what I've done. All right? So there is what I've done to her face. Mr. Horrible. So I hope that helped you understand how to turn this blank face into, let me turn all of this stuff off now. The important thing here was to make that and use content aware to just circle those pieces, making sure that you actually clicked to the blank face each time, and use content aware to remove the features. And then we used this one to actually grab the features, right? So we actually lassoed around each one of these, giving about a 1/2 inch extra room to make all of these layers here. So now there, so far, and I'll turn all of these on just by dragging up, there is her image so far. That's what she should look like. That's what Brian's done. So I hope that helped.